Hey, welcome back to Snap Bowl Games. My name is Max, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 commons from Strixhaven that have actually impacted Pauper so far. So this is kind of a continuation from a video I did not too long ago, right when the set came out. I basically went through not only the entire list of commons and talked about pretty much every single card, but I did a top 5 commons for what I thought would impact Pauper. So you can check out that video on my channel. I'll put a link to that video in the description as well. But it's top 5 commons from Strixhaven that I thought were going to make an impact. And then this is kind of a follow-up video to that. And this is going to be, okay, those were what I thought would impact Pauper. Was I right? Was I wrong? What cards from Strixhaven actually did have an impact? And what, cards spawned any new type of archetypes or, things like that. So we're going to get right into the top 5 and we're going to go from there. But again, check out that other video if you want to see my predictions and how it changed to this video. Okay, so before we get into the actual top 5, I think I have one honorable mention that just didn't quite make the cut, and that is Serpentine Curve here. And this card, here, one second here. Okay, this card is really powerful. I actually brewed a deck that was entirely based around Serpentine Curve. I recorded, I think, one league with it now, or was it two? But this card is really strong. If you build around it, you can just make, 20/20s, 25/25s. And in my list, I was copying it with Teach by Example. I wanted to put that on an honorable mention as well, but I just couldn't quite bring myself to do so. I think this card is really the card that has an impact. And I 4-1 to league with my first build. The deck felt strong. Oh yeah, then we recorded another league, made some changes, added like a couple of flings. But then other players have been kind of picking up the deck and kind of like molding it, changing it. Campo is a solid Pauper player. They are actually just about to write an article on the deck because they just 5-0'd with a blue-red Serpentine Curve deck. It was based originally, I think, on my build because he was telling me so, but he made a lot of changes. He cut Teach by Example, but he was running 4 curve, I think 1 fling, one of the what is that? The one red sorcery target creature you control gains haste until end of turn with you can cast it from the graveyard by discarding a land. So he was running 1 copy of that, and he was running some Thought Scours. So yeah, pretty interesting. And this card kind of did spawn a new archetype. There was already Goblin Wizardry blue-red decks, but I think personally that Curve is better than that because yes, you have to tap out on your turn for Curve where you don't with Wizardry, but if you're able to tap out for Curve and then untap, then you don't need to tap mana for the rest of the game and you can just start attacking with your huge thing. Not only that, but it has synergy with Fling. And look out, I'm going to be working on the deck and playing it some more in the future. So look out for this card. Again, not quite making the cut because I still think that's kind of a fringe deck, but still a cool card and still definitely something to consider. Okay, now let's move on to the actual top 5 here. Coming in at number 5, and again, this is maybe a little bit of a cop out, but not. I don't think so because these cards all go together. I think coming in at number 5 is actually the lessons, and let me explain why I have it like this. Because originally on my first top 5 list, I had the lessons and the learn package all grouped up at number 4. And yeah, again, kind of a cop out, but I thought that a lot of the different learn cards would see play and people would have lesson sideboard packages, and I thought it would be a little bit stronger than it actually ended up being. But that being the case, I mean, maybe not every single lesson here, especially like Spirit Something's a little weaker, but it still could see some play. And the reason why I have all these here is for one deck that we'll get to a little bit later, but Mogwarts, which is the black-red goblin combo deck with First Day of Class. So they play First Day of Class as a way to learn, and then originally they just played like 2 Intro to Prophecy in the sideboard. Then some people started playing Elemental Summoning. They're like, oh, it can be good if you're flooded or you can't combo because they have like multiple relics. You can just get a 4/4, give it haste with First Day of Class, make it a 5/5 and attack. But then people were bringing in like Hate, what's that card called? The 2 mana enchantment that whenever a creature enters the battlefield under opponent's control, it drains for 1. So Mogwarts basically had no outs to that. So then they started playing Introduction to Annihilation. And it wouldn't be that bad to just run like an Inkling Summoning either. So I can see these lessons like really varying depending on the meta and depending on what happens. Like imagine in Mogwarts you have first day of class. There could be some metas where you want an environmental science in the board. I mean, gain two against burn, especially in game one, can be relevant. That almost counters like a lightning bolt and can fix your mana, ramps you, doesn't ramp you, but gives you one additional mana. So having like one environmental science on the board could be good. Fractal summoning, I've played that in like black green learn and it can be decent. So I just have all these cards coming in here because again, it's just like you don't know what you're going to need. It just depends on the meta. So I really like all of these different lessons, and they're good in different situations. I don't think I can just. I think Intro to Prophecy is probably the best, just because it's good in like the first day of class combo deck where you can just basically preordain. But again, you might want multiple different ones. So that's uh that's something to consider. I will say now, on my original list, I did have Charge Through, the one green instant target creature gains trample till end of turn draw card, and I thought that it was gonna maybe see some play. I didn't know exactly where it would slot in, and I did mention that, but I was just like saying in the original video, be aware because one mana green instant draw card with a minor effect can see some play, but it hasn't seen any play yet, and I don't really see where it's going to in the near future. So that was kind of a misfire. Honestly, I wasn't really sure when I was making the top five list because it's hard for five cards to impact Pauper. Pauper is, an eternal format. It's pretty powerful. So it's hard for five cards from a set to impact a set. But let's just move right along here. Coming in at number four, and this was higher on my list before. Let's see if I can drag it over here. Is Thrilling Discovery. So I believe I had this at number two on my original list, but I've definitely changed my opinion. I think this card is strong, and I think it does have a place in Boros Bully. A lot of people have been playing two copies, but I'm not sure if it's going to see like as much play as I thought. That being said, I think as more cards get printed, this is a really strong card, and it could be in some like other decks moving forward. It's just really powerful. It's a lot better than Cathartic Reunion in decks that care like about the draw, and like you can't play Cathartic Reunion in a lot of decks. Like even when I was building Reanimator decks, and I was like, oh, I kind of want Cathartic Reunion, but I was like, I cannot like get my Cathartic Reunion countered because I need the draw. So this is better in a lot of situations like that. So I had it at number two before, I believe, and now it's moved down to number four. It's still really strong, but it's not seeing nearly as much play as I thought it would. But still a good card to keep a lookout for. So Thrilling Discovery, number four. Let's just move right along. This is going to be a relatively quick video. Let's move right along to number three. And number three, I have the Campus Lands. These are seeing basically just as much play as I thought they would. And I think they're all going to be pretty solid. And depending on which decks we see, we could see all of them seeing some play, but Witherbloom Campus and some Black Reed mid-range decks, I've seen that showing up. Lorehold Campus showing up in Boros Bully. Prismari and Quandrix Campus both showing up in Flickertron. Silver Quill I haven't actually seen in a deck yet because I'm not sure, but I mean, Black-White Control, like Black-White Pestilence, would probably want some number of Silver Quill Campus depending on the build. So, I mean, I think all of these are gonna see play over time in Pauper. In one of my last videos, I was playing Red Green Ponza, and we were 4-0 going for the 5-0, and my opponent just played an Is It Guildgate. I was like shocked. I was like, what? There's so many more options. There's the tap land that gains life. There's Fjord, which is like blue red, which is island and mountain, type, and now there's also the campuses. So there's just so many options that are better than guild gates now. There's basically no reason to ever put a guild gate in your deck anymore because these campuses are strictly better, and a lot of times they're better than the tap lands that gain one because the scry is relevant. Like especially in Flickertron, the tap four tap scry one is pretty nice. So campuses staying high on the list. I think these are solid. And now we're gonna get into some spice here. Number two, which I think it could even be number one. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but number two, which again a lot of people had high on their list, which I had grouped in with the lesson learn package because I thought the other learn cards would see play as well, and I didn't believe in the first day of class combo when the set was coming out. So when the set was basically previewed and everyone was saying, "Oh, first day of class, Putrid Goblin." I thought, yeah, that's cute, that's cool, but like I was thinking, it's so easy and Pauper to interact with that. Like if you just take first day of class out of their hand, or if you even just have removal spells like Lightning Bolt, Scred. There's so many things that can just break up the combo, or even Snuff Out, Cast Down can interact with like other colors of creatures, like the red creatures, the other sack outlets. And I did not think first day of class would end up being good, but I've played the Mogwart deck a fair amount, and I'm gonna say I think it's here to stay. The builds aren't 100% figured out, but this card really spawned an entire new combo archetype of black red goblin combo, just Goblin Matron, Skirk Prospector, first day of class. You have Unearth. You can have Faithless Looting. You can play other draw spells. You can play Night's Whisper. So you just have so much redundancy, and like I've been able to combo through like two or three pieces of hate and interaction in the same turn with that deck. It's actually really resilient to removal, especially with Unearth. Um, but it really removal is not good against the combo deck, surprisingly. Again, just because of all the redundancy it has, it's so easy just to play around removal spells a lot of times. I've had even people have like Gutshot, Relics, and I've played around all that. Like the combo deck is pretty impressive. I've done well in the leagues. I've done okay in the one challenge I played it in. I will say, if people are prepared for it, it gets a lot worse. Like if somebody just goes, okay, I don't want to lose to Mogworth. I'm just going to play four relics in my sideboard and have a lot of removal. That's pretty hard to beat. So if this deck really starts winning a lot, it is easy to hate out. But I'm having first day of class, number two on the list. Could even be number one because again, it spawned an entire new combo archetype. But I'm having it number two on the list. I don't have any of the other learn cards on the list. Here, you know what? By the way, let's just real quick. Let me pull up all the other learn cards just because um, we can just look at them and then we can I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is not working out here. One second. Okay, now we got it pulled up. So these are all the learn cards that are legal in Pauper, and I've seen some of them see a little bit of play. Like I've seen a couple copies of Pop Quiz show up, when the set came out in like the blue mid-range decks. I've tried Cram Session, which was decent, but really none of the other learn cards have showed up as being strong enough. I haven't really seen like Mono White Heroic pick up Guiding Voice. I mean, I've never played the deck, so I can't say anything. But this could see some play. Pop Quiz could see some play. Depending on how the format changes, maybe some of these other learn cards see play. Cram Session is actually a nice one. Just as like black decks really didn't have a good gain life spell. A lot of times they'd play like Pristine Talisman, or I've seen Bottle Gnomes. But now you can just play even Cram Session in the sideboard in a black deck as black one sorcery gain four, and then maybe you could have one lesson card in your sideboard or something, and you could bring in a small Cram Session package against burn or something. So that could see some play, but again, the only one that's really seen play is first day of class, and it spawned an entire new archetype. So yeah, I think first day of class deserves number two. Maybe it even deserves number one, but as most of you can probably guess, it's the number one card is not that hard to guess. He's a good boy, and the number one card is Biograph. I think this card is really strong. I really like it in Pauper. I played in one of the earliest challenges, and I had played a couple leagues with Mono Green Stompy with Groff, so Groff Stompy, and I was just so impressed with the deck. I think I 4-1'd both leagues, if I'm not mistaken, and then in the challenge, I think I got third place. So I just have like an insane record with Groff Stompy. I'm probably gonna play it some more moving forward, but yeah, this card I think is the way to go in Stompy. I'm a firm believer in Stompy. It's just so good because not only do you have the insane draws of like Young Wolf into Groff, but you also I like Colony Garden in the deck. You have Colony Garden into Groff. You can even play multiple Burning Trees, play a Groff, sacking your one drop that you played. Um, but it's so good in the deck. Yeah, not only it just provides such a big clock, slap a Rancor on it, but it's just so good at specifically helping you against like Wrath effects, specifically Fiery Cannonade. because like imagine you go Young Wolf into Groff. Now they just aren't able to like set up any type of candidate against you, and you just have this 5/4. Yeah, it can get snapped. Yeah, it can just get killed by Scred or the black removal decks like with a lot of snuff out and cast down. It's kind of weak there, but even against those decks, I found Mono Green Stompy is still such a fast deck. You're just going like turn two Groff, and a lot of times they're like, oh, I have to play a tapped black source, and then I'm getting like whacked for 5 or for 7 if this has a Rancor. And then it's just like it's already done its job. If they cast down it at that point, it's already done so much. And again, playing around the Wraths, just it's so good. Like again, I'm gonna be playing some more Stompy moving forward. I think this card really like kind of revitalized that deck. So number one card from Strixhaven that had an impact in Pauper. I'm gonna go Biograph. And tell me if you think my list is incorrect. Tell me if you think there's cards that should be on it that weren't. There's a lot of other cards that could have been, honorable mention that people have done pretty well with. I've seen some cool Quandrix Pledge Maids decks, if that's how you say it. The hybrid for Quandrix in one, so 3 mana, 2/2 that has Magecraft, gets +1/+1 counter. That's an interesting card. And there is some other ones that have seen, some fringe play. But I think this top five list is pretty solid. It's pretty similar to my original prediction. I will say Charge Through was a total misfire. Um, but I think my original list was decent. Again, it was just a total like shot in the dark prediction. Again, I did miss first day of class because I didn't think that combo deck would be as strong as it ended up being. Even when I saw people start playing it, I said, this I don't know. It seems like it just dies to interaction, and I played against it a couple times. It didn't seem that strong, but then when I started playing it myself, I was like, wow, this deck actually has some legs. So first day of class was on the list, but it was grouped in with all the learn cards, which I think was my biggest mistake because I think I did underrate first day of class, and now it moved all the way up to number two, spawning a new viable deck in Pauper, which is pretty cool. And Thrilling Discovery moving down, Groff staying at number one, so that makes sense. But I hope you enjoyed this content. I had a good time, just talking about these cards. I want to do more stuff like this in the future. Comment down below. I was gonna say, just comment down below on this video. I want to let's just fight the algorithm here. Help me out. If you like my content, if you want to see more stuff like this, comment down below. Just say I'm fighting the algorithm, whatever you want. You could just say something funny. But like this video, subscribe to my channel. It's youtube.com/snapbolt. There's a link to subscribe to my channel, first link in the description. Below that, you can go check out my channel again. Check out the previous top five, a lot of good Pauper leagues. I've been playing a little bit of Modern too. So youtube.com/snapbolt. Help me out, fight the algorithm, comment on this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Peace.